I think I didn't have to wait to discover him because as a film scribe, I was always talked about him by my seniors and therefore had the urge to investigate, watch his films. And when I was in college, we used to have something called a matinee show. And that matinee show always showed these black and white films of Guru Dutt. So we used to bunk college and watch these movies and then discuss it in the canteen with the boys and the girls. So I think he was always there.
When did you discover Guru Dutt?
Well, when I was in college, I used to see a lot of films, and I was a film buff. And I had decided that after my graduation, I'll go to film industry and join Mr. Guru Dutt for a few years, a couple of years, and then I'll become a director. You know, when you are 18 years old, things are very simple and easy. So that is what I had decided, but so very unfortunate that I came to Bombay in 64, 4th of October, and he passed away on 10th of October. So I could never even see him. But that's how it is. I have been very fortunate otherwise. There are so many writers, so many directors, so many actors whom I have admired in my college days. And then I got opportunity to spend hours and days with them. But Guru Dutt is one exception that I could not beat. And I really had thought that when I go, somehow I'll manage, because Sahir Sahib was a very good friend of Guru Dutt and he had written songs for Pyaasa. So I thought this connection will work and I'll assist him for a while, but it did not happen. I was highly impressed by Guru Dutt in my college days, and forgive me for my modesty, which will come in my conversation again and again, that when I was 17, 18, I used to refuse to see films of certain superstars because I believed that they are hams and bad actors. And it means I had some choice. And Guru Dutt had made a deep impression on me in my teenage also. Because I think he was the first person. We had great directors like Mehboob, like Bimal Roy, like other directors before them also in new theatre. But Guru Dutt was the first person who spoke through visuals. So that is the first thing. The other people were good directors, took good performances, shot at right location, create the right ambience in the picture, and so on, and well-written films. But talking through the visual was taught to us by Guru Dutt.
Please.
Oh, okay. Of course, I've heard of Guru Dutt. I've seen bits. I think I remember seeing his film long back. But for me, Hindi cinema began with Bachchan. And Javed Saab was the one who actually pushed me to discover Dilip Kumar also, for times. And I discovered a lot of it very late. And Guru Dutt, actually, a very strange kind of a thing happened. One day at FTI, they were doing a homage to Guru Dutt, and I think his family was coming, some people from his family, and they wanted me to kind of talk of Guru Dutt. I said, why me? I don't know anything about Guru Dutt. Then he said, no, I think they'd like you to speak. So in that 2 weeks, I watched everything that Guru Dutt had made, acted in, his documentaries, everything written about him, and I saw all his movies, and I was just stunned. Okay, and I couldn't finally end up, the day before that, some very big personal emergency happened, so I couldn't end up going there. But that repository of emotion that was in me actually stunned me because I couldn't explain it. I've never felt so happy feeling sad. You know, it was so moving, and I was cherishing and loving that sorrow inside me. And when I was writing Chup, then I suddenly discovered what I used the things that I had learned, that I had watched and prepared for this thing. I had said, this is actually a note to an artist like that. What if Guru Dutt was just one neuron went the other way? What would he be? And that's how I actually discovered Guru Dutt very, very late in life.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Balki sir, for sharing. Sudhir sir, I wonder if you have your lapel on. Could you see? I think you need that.
Yeah. It's weird to talk about this young man called Guru Dutt since we've now become older. We are all older than Guru Dutt, which is fascinating, because I grew up, as we have grown up in cinema, he stayed there, and here I am, 65 years old, and, I can finally say Guru, my friend, right? So it's beautiful, and he's never left me, so I don't know where I first saw Guru Dutt as a 12-year-old with my grandmother, who very identified with Meena Kumari because my grandfather had also left her. So in this Lucknow large house, she went to Sahab Bibi Ghulam often, and when I sort of was of an age where she could take me, I saw that film about 6 or 7 times with her because there were re-releases. The film used to release, so those visuals, if there's one film that I couldn't take with me home to a desert island, it would be Sahab Bibi Ghulam. So it's a stunning film in many ways. And what is astounding about Guru Dutt, like people say, like Balki said, you feel sad, but you feel kind of strangely happy feeling sad. Because Guru Dutt opens up so many, he's an experience. Guru Dutt is an experience. You can see him again and again at different, like a great poem. You can watch Guru Dutt at 22 and it means something else. You see him. So as I have seen Guru Dutt every time, and I keep revisiting him, there is nothing that I have done in my life that is not influenced by him. Nothing. And I haven't measured up to him, that's another story. That's another story. I've been trying to. But, every film that I have done, every shot that I have taken, every scene that I have written, every song that I have tried to picturize, you cannot imagine, I can't imagine it without Guru Dutt. He has taught us how to make films. He has taught us how to see a scene. He has told us how to take that blueprint, which is the script, and then rewrite it on film. He has taught us rhythm. If you see Pyaasa, you'll see it today. There is a shot in which Javed Akhtar walks towards the camera. And I remember seeing this with Javed Akhtar. And there are 3 cuts on the same axis, which is totally wrong. But she's walking forward towards the camera and he's cutting forward. And it creates an impact which is magical. He does things because I think he's inventing what he's doing. He's not taught. He's a choreographer. He's 22, 23 years old. He's watching lots of Western films also. He's seeing German cinema. And I don't think you can talk about Guru Dutt without V.K. Murthy.
Yes, absolutely.
So, if you talk about Guru Dutt, then you have to clap for Mr. Murthy, right? So, but together with Mr. Murthy, he does some things which are amazing, And the women, the sensuality bursting out of each character. That young Wahida Rahman feeling something in Sahab Bibi Ghulam, the widow or the housewife in the trapped Meena Kumari, all that feeling that comes out in, the actress, with her ambition and giving respect to that ambition in Kagaz Ke Phool. She's not some vamp. बिछड़े तो सभी तो बारी बारी बिछड़े, लेकिन कोई वजह थी. He's not he's not a cheap filmmaker, therefore he doesn't bring down another character in order to raise another one. If you see that's the cheapest script writing trick. No, you can drop somebody in order to raise someone. But all the characters, all the characters rise in his films. They are there and it creates a tapestry. So that's what he's taught us. I could talk for
Thank you, Sudhir sir. No, we want that, of course. Hansel Saab, thank you so much for joining us. I just have to let a cat in the pigeons and please.
No, I grew up knowing about him because my closest friend was his nephew. So we were in school from kindergarten until engineering college. We were together. We shared a room. So I used to hear stories about his uncle. So he was Mr. Devi Dutt's son, Sanjay. So he's one of my closest friends even now. We were school, college. We studied together, and I discovered his films much later. I used to hear about him as Sanjay's uncle. He had passed away much before we were born. But I watched. Pyaasa is the first film I saw, and it has left a lasting impression on me. So when I became a filmmaker, Pyaasa has been like a primer. Also, I mean, more than the number of films I've made, I think I've had more heartbreak than the number of films I've made. Heartbreak in love. And, every time Guru Dutt has taught me that, pitting oneself can actually be beautiful. And I suddenly began to think of self-sympathy as a virtue, as something that I should celebrate, and that heartbreak is actually, very, very cinematic, and that I wish I can make a film that talks about heartbreak and love one day, just to pay tribute to the person who's influenced me. The first time I shot on film was in 1994 in FTI. I did not know anything. It was like fully plagiarized song sequence from Kagaz Ke Phool. The light passing down, an arc light from the roof. Same, we tried to replicate the same thing and do it in color. It was the most vulgar replication of Kagaz Ke Phool. And fortunately, those negatives are destroyed. That music video is with Z Music, who doesn't give a damn, and I'm so happy that it's over, and I will make a better tribute to him someday.
Well, thank you so much, Hansel, for sharing. That's so lovely. Bhavna ji, and forgive me because I have quite a task here. I have to have everybody say enough. But I'm going to ask you, because what Sudhir sir said was so amazing, I think, because here we're two women. And I loved what you said about the fact that his women were so powerful. They had agency and they had jobs more than anything else. Thank you very much. There was an era of cinema जहाँ पर वो सिर्फ पापा की परी ही बन के रह गई थी. But during that time, which is the 50s, when he was making these films, in his first film, his lead actress was a doctor. And I felt that was so respectful, and it's also about the time, because at that time, they looked at women differently. So could you take a few minutes, maybe a couple of you, to talk about how that was also an important part of his filmmaking, that he was not just making films, he was also showing up a mirror to society and asking us to be better. Bhavna ji.
Somehow I don't look at it like that. I just felt that when I went to watch his movies, I was seduced by the frames, the aesthetics, even his poetry, the morality, the characterizations, and the roles the women played. And there are absolutely marvelous women characters in his films, and so many of them are my favorites. I love Gulabo in Pyaasa, and I have a very beautiful memory associated with Gulabo, because when I interviewed Wahida Rahman for my book Mother, Maiden, Mistress, she explained to me that when she had to, because I love the song Jaane Kya Tune Kahi. So I said, Wahida ji, aap itne खूबसूरत लग रहे हो उस गाने में, तो आपको क्या ब्रीफ दी थी गुरुदत्त साहब ने? तो उन्होंने कहा कि मैं 16 साल की थी और मुझे मालूम नहीं था कि स्ट्रीट वॉकर क्या होता है, और गुरुदत्त साहब को थोड़ा सा ऑकवर्ड लग रहा था कि हाउ डज ही एक्सप्लेन टू हर. सो ही टोल्ड वहीदा जी's mother that please explain to her that she is playing this character. So after a while, when he got back to the set and he asked the mother that, did you tell her? And she said, no, I didn't know how to do it. So Gurudat sir said to Vaidaji that you will walk a few steps aage, then you will turn back, look at the camera, smile, and then again walk 3 steps ahead. And he showed it to her and he said, but don't do it like me, you do it like yourself. And I think she's so ethereal when she does that. Another favorite of mine is Sahib Bibi aur Gulam mein, of course, the Choti Bahu. I would not like to classify her that she's a homemaker or whether she's regressive or what she, all that politics I don't want to get into at the moment. I just feel she's so wonderful. She has an equation with this Gulam. He's her friend. She seeks him out when she is in trouble. And my favorite song in the film is not Na Jao Saiyan, of course, but Pyaasa jiya mein samaye gayo re. Because it is all about the Shringar Rasa. And we have seen many songs about seduction, whether the vamp does it or the heroine does it. But very few songs have been about Shringar Rasa and the whole dressing up for the man who is going to come and who is a beloved and waiting for it. And finally, she's just so wonderful. I love this song and I love everything. So there are many more characters, but I would like to give others a chance.
Any gentleman on the panel would like to take that?
Gurudat doesn't see women in a condescending way at all, I think. Marquez once said the trick to understanding women is to know that they are as capable of betrayal as you are. I think Gurudat instinctively understands that. He delves into psyches, into characters, they become metaphors. So, I identify with Meena Kumari in many other ways, when I see her not just as anyone trapped in a situation not of their own making. It's of wanting to get out, of being in an oppressive, so it becomes even a metaphor for an oppressive. That's the great thing about great cinema, no? Or great poetry. It arouses things not directly in you, but many things, So I don't know. It's women, all his characters, including his women. Rahman, for example, there's a counterpoint from Sahib Bibi Ghulam. You see Meena Kumari, but you also see Rahman. But you don't despise him. He's equally trapped in whoever he is, his being, his feudalism, his ideas. Because after all, we are all accidents. And I think Gurudat also instinctively, people trapped in this world, so he's looking at them, different people, and their predicaments, and out of that, but there is a story and they are in conflict, and they must be in conflict, and he has to be in someone's side. So he's on the side of the marginalized, the poet. He's on the side of it's not that he's neutral in a sense. Just because he can understand the other doesn't mean he's neutral. But he's, in a sense, the world is so beautifully described that then that predicament becomes even more, It's very deep, the what he arouses in you, in a sense, and it's an experience you can't intellectualize. I don't think you should intellectualize Gurudat that much.
Well, thank you
he's
so
an
much,
experience,
yes.
and he's only possible in cinema.
Absolutely.
Gurudat is the one, you have to experience Gurudat.
I agree with you. And if you are at this point somebody in this hall who hasn't yet, then this is going to be amazing for you because all these films are going to be in the theatre this weekend. Javed Sahab, I've always wanted to ask you this, and I'm so happy we're doing this today. Way back in the 50s, he was able to make a film or have a character that was a poet. And just to show us, the trappings of being a poet, aaj ke zamane mein, and I'm going to contextualize it, I don't know if we're brave enough to have a lead character be the poet and then have all of these inner workings of his mind actually play out on the big screen. What was that for you like? And did that poet ever influence you or your poetry?
Well, that poet was Sahir, the songs, and they were a very important part of the film. But let me go back a little what we were talking about. You know what happens? That there are certain things which are not done in art on conscious level, and they should not be done. Good art doesn't happen only on conscious level. It is an exercise in paradox. You see, any art, whether it is filmmaking, whether it's poetry, whether music, whether writing a short story, novel, whatever, or a symphony. On one hand, you need passion, imagination, fantasy, romance. On the other hand, you need something which is totally contrary, which moves exactly in the opposite direction, that is craft, which is calculated, which is mathematical, which is surgical. And you use both the things together. It's a paradox. Art is created in this paradox. So many times things happen, things are written, poems are written, novels are written, films are made, and then when people see that, they say, he empowered women. He had a soft corner for the poor people. You see, he was broad-minded enough to stand up for people who have different sexual inclinations, and blah, blah, blah. But the fact is that the filmmaker had not made this on the conscious level. It is deep somewhere in his subconscious, his sense of morality, his sense of aesthetics, his sense of decency, his sense of justice, which works. If you do it on conscious level, it will be propaganda. You will know that this is a theory, not the feeling. This is calculated. You are making a statement. Art should not make a statement. The reader or the listener should find the statement in it. Nice. Artist should not do it. Artist should do what he feels or she feels is right. And this work is created not on conscious level totally. Like countries, there is a no man's land between the conscious mind and subconscious mind. Ultimately, good art is created on that no man's land. When he was making films, he was not conscious, I'm sure, and it shows that now I am empowering this character. Now she should have dignity. No, it was coming naturally because that was his aesthetics, that was his sense of decency, that was his sense of morality. On unconscious level, we have experienced this in our limited, humble career, that people say, you know, that angry young man was the voice of that. We had no idea. We had no idea that this angry young man that we are writing in early 70s had anything to do with the emergency or people's lack of confidence of institutions, and that is why this vigilante is appearing in a script. No, we were just writing a script. And I'm happy that we did not know. And I hope that Guru Dutt also did not know many things which we see in his films. Because if you know, then you are looking at the society and the audience from outside. If you don't know and you are breathing the same air, your aesthetics, your feeling is in sync with the society in which you are living. And that is better, that is advisable. That if we know, then we are relying more on our craft. We don't know our fantasies, and that is how it ought to be. Another thing I would like to say, you see, nowadays we go to New Zealand, we go to Swaziland, we go to Switzerland for good locations, good sets, good costumes. Guru Dutt was not dependent on that. The beauty in his case lied his own eyes. I'll give you an example. Now look at this theatre. It's not a very cinematic place. I mean, if you want to picturize a song which is 6-7 minutes long, this is the last place you should shoot that song. But Guru Dutt saw a lot of visual in this auditorium. ये दुनिया अगर मिल भी जाए तो क्या है? Is a long song with almost similar stanzas after stanzas and after stanzas. And it's shot in auditorium. From there, he is standing crucified at the door. And then he enters. And the breaks are not in the set, but in the lighting. How he could shoot a song which we'll never forget on a bed. Na jao saiyan chupa chura ke bhaiya. 90% song was on the bed. And ultimately, Meena Kumari was graceful enough to get off the bed. That's all. That's all. And it is one of the finest picturized songs. So we lack somewhere inside, we try to find outside. Guru Dutt was not dependent on locations ever. Guru Dutt's visual, his frame used to make the location. Name any other director, even today, who can do that. He has taught us so much that we will take generations to learn that. There is no doubt about it. I mean, his songs, ये दुनिया अगर मिल भी जाए तो क्या, जिन्हें नाज है हिंद पर वो कहाँ है. They are not great melodies. They are straight songs. And each of these songs had at least 6 or 7 stanzas. Can you imagine holding a song with a kind of monotony in the tune, if I may say so? Perhaps I am not finding the better word because of my modest English. But the fact is that it is not a great musical item. How it is holding? It is holding because the director is feeling the song. He is making the song as a part of your conscience. I have not seen many people doing that. He was really unusual. He was still, we are talking about, I mean, I'm feeling like some kind of an old historical relic here, because, I mean, somebody tells me that he discovered Dilip Kumar because of me, and then I come to know.
I discovered it because he's not alive.
Also, now you have discovered Guru Dutt, you have discovered Dilip Kumar, you must go to USA also. So,
Where must I go?
USA, but they discovered that also. So, the fact is that the technology has reached from somewhere to somewhere. No need to go into details. Technique, technical facilities, special effects, and at the same time we are miles and miles behind him. I mean, when will we reach somewhere near him? I don't know. पिक्चर देखी थी तो मैं जो स्कूल में था, ये 57 में, 57 का मतलब ये है कि आई वॉज 12 ईयर ओल्ड जब ये पिक्चर रिलीज हुई, लेकिन मुझे याद है। और उसके बाद मैंने कॉलेज में फिर दोबारा भी देखी और अब तो बहुत गहरा इम्प्रेशन है मुझे, बहुत अच्छी तरह याद है। और उस फिल्म से हुआ ये कि मेरा इम्प्रेशन ये था कि जब मैं फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में आऊँगा तो मैं जाके गुरुदत्त का असिस्टेंट बनूँगा और उनसे सीखूँगा डायरेक्शन। लेकिन हुआ ये कि मैं 4 तारीख को आया और 10 तारीख को उनकी डेथ हो गई, तो मैं तो उनसे कभी मिल भी नहीं पाया। क्या ले रहे हो तुम? इतने शोर में तुम मेरी बात ही नहीं सुन पा रहे होगे। आप लोग आपस में ही बात कर रहे हो, क्या है? हैं? आप जब खुद ही साइलेंट नहीं है तो मुझे क्यों खड़ा किया है? हाँ बोलिए। हाँ बोलिए, क्या है सवाल? अच्छी बात है, जो है हिस्ट्री में अपने पास से जो बड़े अचीवमेंट्स हुए हैं, जो बड़े काम हुए हैं, उनका अवेयरनेस आप में होना ही चाहिए। और फिर आप आगे भी देखें और पीछे का भी पता हो, बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो मुझे खुशी है कि यंगर जनरेशन जिसने नहीं देखी है पिक्चर, उसको मौका मिलेगा देखने का, और आई एम श्योर दैट दे लाइक इट वेरी मच। हो गया, आइए तो
नहीं भाई, एक ही बात है जो 4K में हो और नए तरीके से लोग फोटो। अगर आपने गुरुदत्त नहीं देखा तो आपने हिंदुस्तानी सिनेमा देखा ही नहीं, फिर आप अधूरे हैं। There is nobody like him before, after. Thank you so much for restoring it for us. अब इतना चिल्ला रहे तो आप अपने ही लोगों ने कंट्रोल कर दे तो मैं क्या करूँ?
Especially today's youth.
Right. So about today's youth, as you said, कि इनके बारे में लोगों को पता होना चाहिए। So something from you और your point of view जो आप बताना चाहेंगे अपने youth को about गुरुदत्त।
यार मुझे जो लगता है ना, जिस तरह से उन्होंने गाने को कोरियोग्राफ किया है, nobody did it before him, nobody did it like it after him, because with the story he used to tell songs, and उनके गाने तो बढ़िया हैं, सब बचपन से सुनते आ रहे हैं, but the way he's choreographed the stuff, the way he's picturized it with all those beautiful songs with Wahida Rahman ji, I mean it's a lesson in filmmaking, and I hope कि हमारे आज के फिल्म मेकर उस लेवल का कोरियोग्राफ करे which is with the story, not कि मतलब एक अलग दुनिया में डांस चल रहा है, that has nothing to do with the film, so it's such a beautiful way to tell a story, so hopefully we learn from it.
And we have heard अभी in the press conference में भी बात हो रही थी कि अभी इस वीक में गुरुदत्त जी की काफ़ी मूवीज यहाँ पे लगने वाली है इंडिया में। Yes, so अगर मैं आपको पूछूँ कि that one film you are excited about गुरुदत्त जी की किसी भी प्रीमियर में जो आप चाहेंगे कि यहाँ पे देखने आए?
यार एक तो मुश्किल है, कागज़ के फूल, मिस्टर मिसेस 55, साहिब बीवी और गुलाम, so many आर पार, there's so many films of his that I would like to see, तो अगर आ रही हैं तो मैं तो आऊँगा दोबारा।
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hi ma'am, so how are you feeling about Pyaasa and Gurudatt's 100-year legacy?
I think this is fantastic, and this is one of a kind, and whosoever has missed it should not miss it again, because this is a lifetime opportunity to watch and feel and to experience Guru Dutt, because in this generation has not felt the emotions, the beauty of his films. So Pyaasa says it all. Pyaasa is a combination of everything, because it has love, hate, betrayal, emotions, affection, a lot of drama, a lot of interesting cinematic marvel. So I think this movie should be watched by everyone. And today, the PVR has organized this. I'm very happy that we could actually go back to the history and come back again. It's like a time travel. So I'm enjoying every moment of it.
So as you said, that this generation, this youth doesn't know more about Gurudutt and Pyaasa. So in your words, if you want to tell something to youth and our generation about Gurudutt sir.
Gurudutt sir, he was one actor who was very different from the the tide, I must say, and he was very different from the trend. He actually redefined cinema in a different way, and his way of positioning a story was absolutely beautiful. The way he depicted love, I don't think anybody could do it. It was his forte, and the way he emoted. Pathos and also the cravings for love. That was beautiful. I mean, he actually sort of drew beautiful images on screen. And but that time there was no technical jugglery, no VFX, nothing. It was black and white stuff. But it was so uh, it was so mindful. It was so soulful. And the beauty is that Guru Dutt ji always made films which were easy to understand. It was not very complex, but it had a very emotional, interesting, very emotional journey. And also a lot of depth. Everybody loved it.
ऐसी कौन सी फिल्म है गुरुदत्त साहब की जो सबसे ज़्यादा आपको पसंद आई?
मुझे उनकी जो 3 फिल्में बहुत पसंद है। एक तो डेफिनेटली प्यासा, वो गोज़ विदाउट सेइंग। उसके बाद शाहिद बीबी और गुलाम। एंड वन ऑफ माय मोस्ट फेवरेट इज़ कोरा कागज़, जो आई थिंक वाहिदा जी के साथ तो ही हैज़ अ लाइक अ मैजिकल पेयर।
एंड अगर आपको एक मैसेज देना हो, कैसे उन्हें याद किया जाए एक बार में कोई, तो क्या वर्ड होगा?
ये तो मैं ये बोलना चाहती हूँ कि if you love movies and if you love to, sort of know more about the Indian history of films, I think Guru Dutt, you cannot take Guru Dutt out of that, because you have to experience Guru Dutt to know the depths of really, really love stories and real love stories. And love stories are not made with any gimmick, but pure love and affection. Thank you.